Hello, everybody, and welcome to That Dog Training Show with Tanya Yarbrough. Today is that unusual day. We're kind of like, dragging our feet, getting started. But that's okay. It's been like that for me all day and the last couple of days, actually. So, this is the show that we talk about the dogs we love and the stupid human behaviors that we don't, also known as shubs. And today's topic is wolf versus dog. So, if you haven't followed me on That Dog Training Show with Tanya Yarbrough on Facebook, you can also follow That Dog Training Show on Instagram and at Kazzy Dog Train, Kazzi Dog Train on Twitter. So follow along, make nasty comments, and or actually give suggestions or ask questions. Just to let you know, for those of you in the Los Angeles area, the Pack Leadership 101 seminar that's been going on for the last 6 years, September 20th from 6 to 9 p.m. There's lots of room because everybody else seems to have something else to do. That means you have more time to ask me questions and pick my brain. So that is available, and it's at Blue Collar Working Dog. Check it out, workingdog.com. And while you're there, look for the new classes that will be starting September 26th and 27th. That includes a Canine Good Citizen preparation class for 6 weeks. It does not include the test, but it will give you all the ins and outs of how to train to do your best to pass the test if you so choose. Master Distraction will be going on, and then we have, I think Master Distraction. I have to check that. And then also, in a couple weeks after that, October 11th, we will be doing a puppy socialization class. So if you're thinking about getting a puppy and you just want to play with them and learn some stuff, or if you already have a puppy who's 5 months or less in age, this is the class for you. And I'm a serious person. I deal with not just playtime. It's about knowing body language. It's about getting them used to distractions. So puppy socialization is way more than just playtime. Although we are encouraging you to play with the puppies. All right. So today's show was taken from basically the inspiration information. Was taken from Scientific American, the magazine for the fall of 2015. That's the recent one. And it's titled The Science of Dogs and Cats. The article I'm referring to is titled From Wolf to Dog. And so this is something that's like a big controversial thing in dog behavior world. And I've mentioned this many times. I oftentimes allude to it in every show. And so I was one because of my biology background, and I'm not going to go into all the dirty details of what these biologists are studying, but I do want to give you some insight that's going to help you as a dog owner, dog lover, and sort of clear up some of those things about, dominance. I've told a story before on this show, on this podcast, and that was one time when I was in a major pet store chain that offers dog training, and I was returning my cart, and I had Rambo with me, who was actually walking on all fours on the floor like a normal dog. And I saw this woman, this young lady, holding her Shih Tzu or Shih Tzu mix from under the arms, hanging in front of her, sort of like belly to belly type of thing, or belly to back, his back and her belly. And she was talking to this male trainer who had his back to me, and she was like, saying, well, I don't know why he doesn't listen to me. He's the, I'm the one who loves him, and I sleep with him, and I take care of him, but my boyfriend comes over, and he only listens to my boyfriend, and I don't understand that. I'm thinking about getting some training. And the trainer said something that I didn't hear, and then I heard her say, well, what do you think about that, pack leadership, that dominance thing? And for some strange reason, I did hear what the dog trainer said, and he said this. He says, that stuff is outdated. That's old school. See, these dogs are domesticated, so they don't need any dominance. They don't need a leader. They just need a lot of positive reinforcement. And I just started burning up inside, and I had to use all of my courage and all of my little bit of virtue that I have left, that I haven't thrown away, to not go over there and knock him in the head, because that would be considered assault and battery. So I left. But in that very statement, the man contradicted himself. If the dog is domesticated, then therefore they are to what? They look to what for its survival? Humans. Yes, it looks to humans for survival. Therefore, the humans actually have to be the leaders in terms of survival. The one and only, the main dude or dudette from which that dog gets all its needs, like food and shelter, etc. So, um, he kind of doesn't know what he's talking about. So, and this is really common. This is super common among modern behaviorists and all positive training dog, trainers. I'll tell you that all positive dog training isn't all wrong in all situations. It's only really good for a controlled situation like a closed room, not for going on the street. So it's good for starting things or learning new behaviors in a controlled environment, but not great for leadership, aggression, obedience in general. There's a whole lot more to it than that. So when I was reading this article from Wolf to Dog in Scientific American in the fall 2015 issue, they featured this scientist, Sofia Viragni. She's an ethologist, which means she studies where things come from in terms of biology, in terms of evolution, etc., at the Wolf Science Center in Austria. Very cool, right? So here's what they did. She and other scientists, ethologists like herself, raised both domestic dogs and wolves from the age of 1 week old, from puppies who were just 1 week old, not yet weaned. They weaned them themselves. They bottle fed them. They trained them with the same commands and basic rules of existence, of coexistence with humans, etc. They took them away from any training from or imprinting or anything else with the mother. Okay, so they weren't raised by wolves or dogs for the first 9 weeks. They were literally born, had a week to start learning to wiggle around a little bit, and then mother dogs and mother wolves were out of the picture. So that was on purpose so that we could completely consume with knowledge about and handling with humans. So here's what they were discovering. They said that basically the desire to work with humans and to understand a no or an absolute does not exist in the wolf, but it did in the dog, even though they were both raised in the same way and both trained in the same way. So, for instance, they use the example of they would put meat on a counter and let the dog make, or the wolf make it. They could say no to the dog, whom they trained what no means, and the dog would leave it alone or slink away. The wolf would actually turn around and stare them down while they sucked down the meat. They didn't care, even though they knew what it meant, even though they were trained the same way. So their desire to work with humans is just non-existent, basically, even though they can do it. You can train them with food, etc. They don't want to. Whereas dogs' whole existence, like, please tell me not tell me to do it, just tell me what to do. So here's the thing. The wolf structure is more egalitarian, where there's not a strict hierarchy of dominance like that of domesticated dogs. And what I mean by strict hierarchy is that hierarchy, but the space between the notches on the ladder, per se, is very small. So what happens is that there isn't one supreme leader and then all the little minions down below, which is more like what the dogs have, a dictatorial sort of like existence with each other, which I'll get back to. But the egalitarian is a little more like we're more on equal ground, but we're close enough that I could take you out if I wanted to. There's not that much respect between the space in terms of like ultimate survival. They also, most wolves, if not all of them, I don't remember off the top of my head, actually mate for life. They have one mate. They mate for life. That's it. So when it comes to the structure of the pack structure of wolves and dogs, they are very different. Dogs don't mate for life, but they have this very strong dictatorial social structure where there's one big leader and everybody else is the space between that leader and all the others in the pack are. It's more of a problem for dogs when they're more closely related to each other in terms of their dominance. So this is kind of an interesting thing in terms of how it is publicized and mythologized and all that stuff. All the eyes that goes out there from certain animal rights groups or all positive training people or modern behaviorists, they're all like, a dog is not a wolf, blah, blah. Well, no kidding, folks. No kidding. Here's the thing. when you treat your dog a little closer to being more like you and having equal rights and having just as much space and being able to eat with you at the table, you are actually treating your domesticated dog like a wolf and not like a dog. Thus, you mess with their brain and make them nervous because they were not developed by humans to do that, to handle that. So when you are sitting there go, I'm going to let Fido sit in the seat next to me and we're going to eat together and we're going to do this and we can sleep together and we're going to do that, you're actually treating that dog like a wild wolf with a social structure that is totally different than domesticated dogs. Hello, everybody. Where's the disconnect? Where's the freaking disconnect, right? So the domesticated dog actually requires this really strong, this really clear one where they need permission to do things from the dominant alpha creature, which is the human being, because that's what we did. We created that through time. So I get accused of treating dogs like wolves by using dominance in the contrary to that popular belief to make that dog adopt to the egalitarian lifestyle where all the pack members are almost equal in status is when a person is actually treating a dog like a wolf. I know it's a repeat, but I want to make sure that's really clear. You're actually messing up, folks, when you make the dog almost equal to you in terms of getting resources, etc. So this is why I will forever have a career in Los Angeles, because this is where that misunderstanding comes from about domesticated dogs. Domesticated dogs, the ones we love, need and want those strong boundaries. It doesn't mean that you have to be cruel or vicious or violent. It means it has to be a very strong boundary and there has to be a big distance between you and your dog in terms of where they are in status. So right now, this is part of the article I got from the article, there are a team of over 50 scientists around the world working together right now on the wolf dog problem. And that problem is the when, how, and why dogs were domesticated and from what wolf. And there's some things that they've already discovered in previous years, and they're kind of going deeper into it. So here's some of the things that they've already discovered. It's fairly conclusive now. The dogs have not descended from the gray wolf as once and so long believed. Rather, both the gray wolf and the domesticated dog descended from a more ancestral or older wolf that no longer exists. So they used DNA analysis to come up with the idea that the dog comes from the gray wolf, but here's where it goes screwy. DNA analysis now suggests that the 99.9% match of a dog's DNA to a gray wolf's DNA is because they share the same parent and they're actually sister species. On top of that, it's also true that domesticated dogs and wolves have been interbreeding for centuries, if not thousands of years, so the DNA pool is highly contaminated, as they say, and doesn't give us an accurate account of the evolution or the domestication. So that whole theory that we've been living off of for, I don't know, over 100 years is actually completely blown out of the water. So there's also this mounting evidence that the dog is not just domesticated once at one time in one place on the globe, but rather the modern dog is a result of multiple domestications in various places at various times in our history, most likely as far back as 35,000 years ago, but some as early as maybe 6,000 to 8,000 years ago. So, which is still a long time, by the way, but there's like this huge range of when dogs were domesticated, where and how, and all that sort of. So to do that, to figure this out, DNA analysis and collection of all the, this information from the various geographical locations and analysis of skull shapes and bone shapes are being collected. And the project that's currently going at the end of this year, they think anyway. It does not mean that all their questions will be answered, but